Hi, good morning. We're here with Craig Stevenson from Vit4. How you doing, Craig?
Yeah, very well, thanks, Mike. You keeping well?
I'm very well too, thank you. Excited for this morning's interview. So if you could start us off and tell us a little bit of information around who you are, what it is that you do, and how long you've been doing it for, please.
Yeah, so I'm CEO and a lead sort of consultant physiologist for our company Vitfor. We specialize in working with athletes, so all the way from world-class Olympic gold medalists, we've coached a few of those, had a few guys just in the world champs just gone, all the way down to sort of people who are just getting into sport and exercise at the very sort of entry grassroots end as well. So our job role is we've got a team of guys. We look after everything from looking at where your body's at in terms of weight, composition, what you should be doing for diet, all the way through to top end sort of cardiopulmonary exercise testing, stress ECG, and really understanding how your body's working and designing bespoke training programs and things like that for you.
Amazing. So when did the business launch? How long have you been doing it for, would you say?
Yeah, so this is a bit of an interesting one because it's sort of multifaceted. So what I just realized that one element I missed off is we've also got an online platform of coaching to this as well, which is actually the Bit4 side of things. So in terms of the kind of core business, the sort of one-to-one higher end tailored training, we probably started back in 2010, 2011, that sort of period. We sort of grew quite rapidly with a bit of success after London 2012 Olympics because we had a couple of athletes in that while I was still sort of doing a PhD at the time. And it got to the point where time wasn't enough. So then we actually launched the Vit4 software a few years later on. I think it's probably been getting about 6 years now, 6 or 7 years. But a lot of it has actually been research and discovery and working out how it goes. And obviously, with the big launch of AI, we're sort of having, I say big launch, big sort of growth within the AI market. It's sort of opened a lot of new avenues for us. So, yeah, we're just kind of in a re-release for that. So it's kind of a bit of an evergreen, ever evolving project, really.
Yes, sounds like it in terms of you've started something and then you're just taking the path of where it goes and where the demand is. So that leads
Absolutely.
me on to the next question about what would you say makes you different from other providers of what you do out there? What's your kind of unique selling point you think for Vit4?
Yeah, I think one of our big key things is that you often get in the industry, you get guys who've been athletes and maybe who know how to coach, very good interacting, sort of been there, done that. So they can offer a great wealth of experience and advice to athletes on that side. And then you get the other guys on the other side who are very much, let's say, academic and very science orientated. One of the things that we do incredibly well, because I've kind of been on both camps, we kind of fill this bit in the middle. So we managed to link the sort of real top end cutting edge science while we're conducting our own research with top end athletes with their been there, done that, experienced it myself side of things as well. So you kind of get a full sort of perspective and feeling of all sides within the camp. So when we do this, we can offer a bit more of a rounded and tailored experience, if that makes sense.
Cool. Sounds good. It makes sense to me.
Good.
So, in terms of your business journey to date, how would you sort of describe that? You say it's been developing, but if there's a number of words or adjectives, how's it been for you? Have you always meant to go into business and do this, or is it something that just kind of came off the back of personal interest and your own experience in sport?
Yeah, so where it actually started is it was actually originally me being in sport. So I used to swim sort of nationally, sort of for GB development squads. Thought I wanted to become elite, kind of fell out of love with it a little bit, I think, as you sort of discover sort of social life, things like that around the age of 16. Then I sort of went into cycling, really enjoyed that. And going through university or heading into university, I thought I wanted to become a pro athlete. So I didn't go down my first choice of degree, i.e. medicine. I did something which enabled me to, let's say, pursue my career as a potential elite athlete. Um, but lo and behold, I don't have the head for it. I think I lasted a very short period of time and very quickly realized that actually it's not so much the body, it's more about the mind. But I had a real love and interest in kind of how it all works and sort of working with sort of top level swimming, then into sort of cycling. There were huge disparities in how it was done. It sort of, asked some questions and, I sort of gained a real interest and wanted more of an insight into this. So I actually went back to university again, did another degree, master's, around applied physiology and biochemistry to really sort of pursue that side of things, to help a few friends that said, "Oh, do you mind kind of coaching me?" And it really just sort of snowballed from there, from me helping some friends, getting some sort of more knowledge, and then, turning into a natural organic growth business, if that makes sense, picking up athletes on the way and just getting busier and busier. I think one of the real key points for us was probably again around 2012, because we had some more athletes in the Olympics, and they one of them won a gold medal. And it's nothing I was doing. I was sort of in the right, I say that, in the right place at the right time, let's say. But it
Yeah.
kind of gives you a bit of credibility within the industry and field. And all of a sudden, we picked up another two or three, let's say, elite development athletes. They again had great success going full-time professional, racing at the highest level, and it snowballed from there. And of course, once you get one or two top-end athletes like that in, and you're showing your credibility, it more people want to work with you. So it was very much originally sort of a one-man band, me working with a number of these guys, really developing. The business then sort of naturally grew into what you call, I suppose the industry term is mammals, so middle-aged men in lycra. So
Yeah, yeah.
cyclists
Heard of
predominantly,
that.
who want a slice of the action, because a lot of people we work with,
Yeah.
they say they're not competitive, but a lot of guys are, especially the sort of people we work with. They're maybe successful in life or work, and they want to beat the mates in their sport as well. So they kind of come a bit on the down low, sly coaching with us. So we help them out from that, and it really kind of grew from there. So we sort of kept adding elements to it. So again, once we got a little bit more detail, we started adding all the cardiopulmonary exercise testing, so all the lab-based stuff. We do full biomechanical assessments. We brought in strength conditioning coaches to do full movement screens, physiotherapists to look at all that side of things. So as the athlete base grew, we started adding elements and elements to the business. And along this journey, as I said earlier, it got to the point, and still is at the point, where time is, or my time is really the limiting factor. So that's where the AI sort of software really comes in to take the pressure off that, still with this big support team behind to support athletes using it in a more detailed one-to-one basis.
So is that, in terms of what the future looks like for you, the exciting part, but then also the challenge of taking on that growth?
Yeah, I think the growth is a real challenge. And I suppose one of the mistakes I made is I didn't anticipate. So it's got to the point where we're being reactive and proactive because we don't have the time to move forward as well as what we want. So we're kind of in this place where, we're very, very busy, but it's almost reacting and dealing with the business we've got, as opposed to having as much time to look forwards as that we want. We know all these things and have all these things we want to do, but being able to put time into it and management into it is a real, real challenge for us. So hindsight there would have been good. And I think where the future is, this big grand plan is, we get the AI software off. That will help, obviously, deal with some of the load. And obviously, it's not time limited. So that will, of course, enable us to be open-ended on the number of clients within reason. But again, we really want to keep developing the elite one-to-one side of things, because, yeah, AI and that sort of thing is brilliant, but the human body isn't sort of 1+1 = 2. It's a lot more complicated. There's so many of the variables and stresses that, having a conversation with a person, understanding that, that will never be replaced. So, yeah, I think the direction, I don't think it's going to be just AI or just personal. I think it'll be a combination of both, enabling us to manage things better.
Right. So what would you say, encompassing all of that you just told us, really interesting journey, and a look at the future of the business and your challenges, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned to date in business, do you think, if there's one you could share?
Time management. Genuinely time management.
Right in there, yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm guilty of it, and I don't do it enough. It's kind of setting aside a bit of time where you can get on top of the admin, get on top of the planning, get on top of that future growth, and effectively time just purely for looking at the business itself. That is, I think, one of the biggest things I've learned, and honestly still a big weakness. We're only just getting into it because, I very much love working with people and having meetings, and I should say no is my problem to people. So I'm always too busy to do the stuff, the maintenance of the business, if that makes sense. So I think time management, yeah, that's what we're really working on hard as a team, trying to set aside some time each week to really look at things, plan, organize a bit better, so to keep the development of the business moving forwards.
Great. Thank you for that share, being so open with that. I'm sure it resonates with a lot of other business owners as well. In fact, I know it does. I know it will. So in terms of any advice that you could offer someone just starting out in business, if there's one piece of advice you could share based on your experience, it could be related to your lesson there. But if there's anything you
I
feel,
think best bit of advice I would say is, one, be willing to be fluid and dynamic. Go with the flow a little bit. Don't be too fixated on an idea, but at the same time, you have to have a plan and an idea. So it's kind of having a rough idea of where you want to go, enabling yourself to evolve with the market and what the demands actually are, but all the time giving yourself time to actually look at this and follow this properly. Did that make sense? I don't think I articulated that quite as well as I could have done.
I think it did. I mean, here at Action Coach, definitely something we agree with. You got to have your kind of northern star of where you're
Yeah,
going, but you need to just it's never going to be a straight line there. But
absolutely.
you got to make the business towards a goal, towards what it is that you want, and make the business work for you. Otherwise, you're going to end up just getting pulled all over the place and not be going anywhere towards any direction.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly that. And then setting yourself time aside to actually manage and work with the development of the business as well, not just doing the work. Yeah, you put that much better than I did.
Yeah. That's right. Well, I understood it from that sense. So good.
Good.
So what inspires you to do what you do? You mentioned about working with people, and obviously we all have things that we love to do, and that's our genuine passion. So is that what it is? Or it could be, I
It
mean,
is exactly that. Yeah, it's exactly that. I mean,
yeah.
what inspires me, what we see from athletes, and people say, "Oh, you must really love working with these world-class athletes," and we just missed out on a medal and stuff like that. Oh, but honestly, I honestly think what inspires me more, or as much, let's say, it's the people at the entry level. It's sort of seeing people from changing their lives, making changes to achieve their goals, helping them being a part of that journey. It's kind of really motivating and sort of inspiring because, yeah, I mean, just pleasure with what we do. It's just fantastic, irrespective of the level of the individual we're working with. It's really good fun.
Great stuff. So thank you. Lastly, then, in terms of any latest news around what you're up to, you've covered a fair bit, or even if it's just a case of finding your website and sharing that, just feel free to let us know.
I will do. Oh, question. Yeah, so
Yeah.
new things we've got coming up. Because of all the growth we're obviously having, we're breaking the company apart a little bit more. So VIT4, as you see it here, this is going to be our new release on the AI software in, I want to say, beta in about a month. I think we'll be able to market, and then we'll have our sort of new website for the high end sort of one-to-one stuff launching again at around about the same time. Again, all the links from that will be from the VIT4 website as well.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Craig, absolute pleasure talking with you. Thank you very much for sharing
No,
all that you
thank you.
have. And I wish you all the best for the future
Thanks,
of the
Mike.
business.